As Prince Harry approaches his 40th birthday, a milestone that often prompts reflection on life's journey, it is clear that he is entering this decade with a sense of fulfillment and excitement. This is a stark contrast to his feelings about turning 30, when he was grappling with deep personal challenges. Recently, Harry admitted that while he was anxious about turning 30, he now feels optimistic about the future as he approaches 40. This change in perspective speaks volumes about how much his life has transformed over the past decade. Jeannie Bond, a royal commentator, commented on how this change in perspective speaks volumes about how much Harry's life has transformed over the past decade.
It's interesting reflecting on where Prince Harry is now. And he says he was anxious about turning 30, he's excited about turning 40. What do you make of where he's at?
Yeah, well, 30 was a difficult time for him. He had been in Afghanistan. He was pretty traumatized by all of that. He was having panic attacks. He broke up with his girlfriend, Krista Bonus, just before he was 30. It was a pretty miserable time for him. Now look at his life. He's got what he wanted. He's in America. He's with the woman he loves. He's got kids. He always wanted kids. He lives in the sunshine. And this has confirmed what I thought, his statement to the BBC, which is unusual in itself, I must say. His statement that he's very excited about the next decade. I think it's full of joy of being a parent, and it confirms what I thought, which is he's happy in his new life.
Bond highlighted that Harry's anxiety about turning 30 was understandable, given the challenges he was facing at the time. Coming home from Afghanistan, he found himself not only coping with the mental and emotional toll of war, but also navigating the intense scrutiny of his private life. His breakup with his then-girlfriend added another layer of difficulty, leaving him to grapple with both personal and public pressures. For Harry, these years were a time of significant internal conflict, as he sought to reconcile his role within the royal family with his growing desire to live life on his own terms. Now, as he prepares to turn 40, Harry has found peace in his new life in California. He has what he always longed for: a loving family, a supportive wife, and children he adores. His home is no longer bound by the rigid expectations of royalty, but instead offers him the freedom to pursue his passions and live a life that feels authentic. Bond's observation that Harry has all he has ever wanted resonates deeply. He is not only surviving but thriving, and his excitement about the next decade confirms that he is content in his new chapter.
And in terms of what the couple set out to achieve in the United States, are they succeeding, do you think? Because obviously the narrative here is still very much focused on the rift.
The narrative here, in my view, has become extraordinarily petty. We seem to deride everything that Harry and Meghan do. And personally, I think that if Harry's going to reflect on his life at 40, maybe we should reflect on what we say about them. Because we don't have to mock everything they do and say and how they act. For example, in Colombia, Daniela was talking about that. I thought it was fantastic that someone with Harry's kind of platform stood up and said, hey, we've got to stop what's going on online with our children. Some of whom, the people he was with, were parents of a child who had been driven to suicide by the dark web. Thank goodness someone like that is using that platform to do good. And in his statement to you, he confirmed that that's what he wants to do in this coming decade, just do good in the world with the platform he has. And all credit to him.
Bond pointing out the British media's relentless and often petty scrutiny of Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, reflected a broader issue in how the media has portrayed them since they stepped back from royal duties. Rather than acknowledging the positive work they are doing, much of the coverage has been focused on trivial or sensationalized narratives. The relentless media campaign against Harry and Meghan has not gone unnoticed, and Bond called for a moment of reflection. If Harry is taking time to reflect on his life and how far he has come, perhaps the British media should do the same. The tendency to deride everything the couple does reveals more about the media's own biases and motivations than it does about Harry and Meghan's actions. The press has been unable, or unwilling, to accept that Harry has built a fulfilling life outside of the monarchy, and that he no longer needs the validation or approval of the royal institution. In light of the British media's relentless criticism of Harry and Meghan, one commenter on Twitter astutely noted that the tide may be beginning to turn. "I don't think the press is as stupid as they would like us to believe. They have seen the tea leaves. The wind is changing," the commenter wrote. They went on to observe that clicks on hit pieces about Harry and Meghan are decreasing, while the palace has failed to provide the media with the kind of juicy content they thrive on. In this shifting landscape, the media's fixation on the Sussexes is becoming harder to justify. Their attempts to portray Harry and Meghan as villains seem increasingly out of touch with the reality of the couple's lives. Instead of the scandalous narratives that the tabloids have clung to for so long, what emerges from Harry's 40th birthday reflections is a picture of a man who has found peace, fulfillment, and happiness. Jeannie Bond's comments further highlight this disconnect between the media's portrayal of Harry and the man he has become.
Until you see that going?
Well, I think he will continue to campaign. They will continue to visit, I won't say tour, various countries highlighting issues they care about. That's what they want to do. They're pretty rich. Today, on Sunday, when he's 40, he will inherit more millions from his late grandmother and great-grandmother. So he's not short of a bob or two. So I think he can use that, as he says, to do good. And, we don't have to follow them. He doesn't invite a media party. In fact, he doesn't want the media, it seems, to go with him, just one or two reporters. So let's stop mocking them for saying it's a royal tour. They're just using their fame to do what they think will make the world, as Harry says, a better place.
She praised Harry's life in the US, noting that he is happy, rich, and in love, and emphasized how much his children, particularly Lilibet, are bringing joy to both Harry and the extended Spencer family. The image of Harry creating a space in his home, filled with pictures of his mother, Princess Diana, for his children to connect with her, is a poignant one. It serves as a reminder that despite all the challenges he has faced, Harry has never lost sight of the love and values that his mother instilled in him. Speaking of values, one of the most striking aspects of Harry's post-royal life is how he has continued to use his platform to advocate for causes he cares deeply about. Bond praised Harry for using his recent trip to Colombia to advocate for online safety for children, a cause that has become increasingly important in the digital age. This is just one example of how Harry is focusing on meaningful, impactful work that transcends royal protocols and formalities. Rather than participating in royal tours, which are often criticized for being performative, Harry and Meghan are using their influence to make a tangible difference. As Bond noted, they are not doing royal tours, but are instead showing up and doing good. Their work is driven by a desire to leave the world better than they found it, whether it's through advocating for mental health, online safety, or providing support to underserved communities. This commitment to positive change is likely to continue in the years to come. Bond speculated that Harry may even use the inheritance he is set to receive on his 40th birthday to further these causes. It would not be surprising if he dedicates a portion of his wealth to advancing his philanthropic work, as he has always been driven by a sense of responsibility to give back. The fact that Harry is focusing on advocacy rather than royal appearances or titles speaks to the depth of his commitment to making the world a better place. As Prince Harry celebrates his 40th birthday, he is entering this new chapter of his life with a sense of joy and purpose. No longer the troubled prince struggling to find his place, Harry has built a life that reflects his values and aspirations. His focus is on his family, his advocacy work, and creating a better world for his children. In contrast, the British media's narrative about Harry and Meghan has become increasingly petty and out of touch. It's time for the press to reflect on its own behaviour and recognise that Harry is no longer defined by the royal family or the constraints of his past. He has found happiness and fulfilment on his own terms, and that is something worth celebrating. As Jeannie Bond wisely pointed out, Harry's life in California is not just fantastic, it is a testament to his resilience, his values, and his desire to make a difference in the world. Thank you for watching.